This is Bloomed Ghoul, the ghoulish 2D roguelike I've been developing for over a year. My name is Gabe, and welcome back to another devlog. In the last one, I mentioned how devlogs would be more spread out so that I can focus primarily on the actual development of the game, and that's exactly what I've done. To say I made a ton of progress is an understatement, as I've quite literally doubled the amount of content in the game, among doing some other quality of life changes. Not only that, but the Steam page is now public. That's right, it's public. You can go and wishlist it right now. You should go do that, really, it's free. It's pretty cool, I made some new enemies. Or rather, I finished the enemies I showcased in the previous devlog. Just look at them. I'm particularly a fan of how the Shield Demon and Carrion Feeder came out. I kind of messed up the moving animation for the Carrion Feeder, but honestly it's so dorky it kind of fits the mischievous nature of it. It looks like it kind of tiptoes towards corpses as if it's trying to be sneaky around screwing you over. The Drizzle Mite is alright in my opinion. I'm not particularly in love with its design at the moment, but it's definitely good enough. I initially tried going for a snail-like aesthetic, but couldn't get it to work. But who knows, I might just revisit that idea in the future if I do decide to redo it. I also updated several sprites related to enemies, such as effects like the explosion, the bloated burst, the acid puddle, and firebolt, which all look much better than they did before in my opinion. Outside of enemies, I also redid the art and the code of the heavy attack charge up. It is a lot more legible now, and I've immediately noticed an improvement overall in playtest. The last thing I did art-wise was update the grafting UI. If you've been following the devlogs, you might be thinking, hey, why did you update this after just showing off grafting in the first place last devlog? And to that I'll say, because I didn't like it. The slightly longer answer is that the UI was pretty clunky to use, to be honest, and when I initially designed it, it was done quickly and without much foresight. This new UI looks much better in my opinion and feels way better to use and navigate. And before I move on to game design talk, I also want to go ahead and say I did draw some other minor things like sprites for new upgrades, adding on to the main tile set for the dungeon. And a single sprite for a hidden enemy that may or may not hunt you down from the shadows if you stay too long in a room without progressing and is definitely too strong for you to fight, but it's not a problem if you just keep descending. Outside of some really minor level design these last 3 or so weeks, I've mainly been focused on upgrades. I've created a bunch of new ones to acquire, changing the total amount in the game from 18 to, as of this recording, 35. Some of them are pretty basic, mind you, and just change a stat, but some are a lot more interesting, like Desecrate, which allows you to damage and explode corpses, and Foul Odor, which damages enemies that are within spelling range of you. It's been really fun brainstorming upgrades and then implementing them, and there's still a lot more I want to add. At the start of the project, admittedly, I had a bit of difficulty coming up with multiple unique and fun upgrades, but in the last month or two, I've made it a point to play more games and to pay more attention to what I found fun or interesting in them. The inspirations for Desecrate and Foul Odor, for example, came from one of Necros' abilities in Warframe and the Defender's Crest charm from Hollow Knight, respectively. It seems obvious in hindsight, but it really is no exaggeration to say that the best way to make good games is to play more of them. Another major thing I did was implement drop tables. This means I can now designate an upgrade to only be an upgrade from its specified drop table. This is really relevant because for starters, I can prevent single-use upgrades from appearing in the merchant shop. It also opens up the door for me to experiment with the idea of having things like bosses or NPC quest rewards pull from a unique list of upgrades. I've essentially opened up the gates for me to go crazier with upgrade designs, so don't be surprised if next devlog I end up showing off a ton of new ones on top of the now 35 that I have. The last couple of things I worked on, or things most people might not find exciting, so I'll try to keep this section pretty brief. I fixed some bugs I found and updated some code I did months back that was so terrible I literally just couldn't overlook it. I updated the menu options for my game and kept it consistent both in the main menu and in-game because for some reason they were different and I thought that was okay for the longest while. I added support for different keyboard layouts, at which point you might be asking, why not just add key mappings? And to that I'll say, yeah. Though honestly I might do that in the far future, but for now this works great I think. And I added the groundwork for language localization. It's a bit too early to show off anything right now, but it's cool and notable enough that I'll mention it now anyways, because it's pretty neat. I have no idea how many languages the game will have support for, but at the bare minimum, expect English and Portuguese, as those are the two languages that I am fluent in. And that is everything. I might have missed a thing or two unintentionally, given just how much stuff I did these last few weeks. It's kind of crazy, still to me, but it is what it is. Like always, if you want to continue following development, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And wishlist the game on Steam too, as wishlists help me out a ton. That all said, thanks for watching and take care.